Well, I knew this was going to be a good morning if I could get the thunderstorms to pass me by. There were some nasty thunderstorms right off the beach in the morning, but I got there early, got loaded up, and just waited. And once the thunderstorms passed, I got on the water. I saw some fish breaking on the surface. I cast it into it thinking it was smaller fish, and I caught a big fish. This is 5 or 6 minutes into it, and now about 15 minutes in. I can tell the way this thing is pulling, it's a big fish. It feels a whole lot like a cobia. It's got that head, kind of that pulsing speed of the tail moving and the head moving. I'm convinced it's a cobia. And after 20 minutes, I had managed to keep him out of the structure. And I'm really trying to look down and see what he is. I can tell it's a heavy fish, but I can't see it. On these cloudy days, it's almost impossible to see down into the water very well. And also, on my other rod, I got a hit, of course, because I didn't reel it in while I was fighting the first fish. So it's a smaller fish. You can hear my reel going off. The big fish is just going to make some line up, steal some line while I'm getting this smaller one out of the way. It's Kingfish. Try to deal with him pretty quickly. There we go. And you can see he's still dumping line off. I don't want to lose all that line and lose the fish. So with this king, beginning of the day, I'm assuming I'm going to catch a bunch of kingfish. So I don't have a lot of time to fool around and lose that big fish. So I'm going to remove the hooks. Looking back, I kind of wish I had thrown him on the measuring board, but I didn't. Got him out of the way. Get that rod out of the way, and let's go get this guy. So you can tell this cheap reel, it's got a felt drag, and it does not have the power to stop this fish on 20-pound line. So I'm using my hand to reinforce the drag. One more reason I wear gloves. And that thunderstorm behind me looks close. It's actually going the other way. I'm south. Of course, you can see it's a jack now. But the video angle doesn't do it justice. This is a big, heavy jack. My personal best. And to catch him on the little rod is pretty cool. Now you can see what he is. He's 43 inches. I don't know what that equates to in weight, but he was a hoss. He was a solid jack. So I'm trying with one hand, get enough line. And he's still resisting. So I'm trying to pull him up. And if you've handled a big jack, you know that those scoots on the tail are brutal. They're cutting. Pretty nasty stuff. So I need to flip him around, get that hook where I can see it, and get that out of the way so I'm not in danger of being hooked. Yeah, you can tell I'm relieved to have that over with. I started at that rig back there. He ran me around the rig a couple times. And then off to the side. So you can see him. I'm happy with that. I'm going to keep him because Sharkathon is coming up soon. And Rocky asked me to please bring him a jack or two. We'll do it, but I'm tired. I don't want to play with that little rod anymore with big fish. So we begin to get into some fish. There are fish further offshore that I can see there's a school of birds working them. And I don't want to chase fish right now, so I'm just staying around the rig. There are lots of fish there. And I'm just picking off fish. I originally was going to go further north around the Corpus area because there's more structures. And I knew there would be more fish up there, but the thunderstorm at the point you're watching right here was currently blasting Corpus. It was getting hammered and lots of lightning. On the backside of the thunderstorm, it was rain here and there, but I didn't hear lightning until after lunch when I ran for the beach. So I'm looking to try to see what this fish is. I can't see down in the water very well, but it's really pulling hard. It runs fast, but as it turns out, I think it's a king that's hooked in the back, so he's really got a good angle and he's putting the pressure on. And you see me kind of move the rod back and forth sometimes. I'm trying to break that rhythm he's got of running in circles. They run in circles, and if you let them just keep running in circles, they'll do it for 10 minutes or something sometimes. So this guy, got a hold of him, get the hooks, but he was able to dehook himself. So that's a little entertaining. Next fish, it didn't take long, all morning long I had rods going off. And I was catching some bluefish. I was catching a few bonita, mostly later in the day. I had good kingfish, and this one I thought was a king. It's not, it's a Spanish. I had 5 Spanish mackerel over 30 inches. This one fought hard, that's the one. He's hooked in the belly, so he's got a good angle. He doesn't look that big. I'm 6'4", so I make fish look small, but he's over 30 inches. I think I have a picture of that one on the measuring board later. He's a solid Spanish. My administrative assistant loves those things, and so I was going to take as much as I could get to her. And I got a double again, trying to move that to the front and at least pull the slack so the 2 fish don't tangle each other. The one in the one that looks on the right side of the screen is a big fish, and he's kind of pouting out there in the distance. So this one, I pulled it in close. I'm going to put it in the back rod holder and bring it up near the surface. I can see now that it's a Spanish. I'm just going to park him right there. He's coming aboard. He's just going to have to wait. So I'll fix the camera angle and get this fish aboard if I can. And every few minutes the fish would come up beside the rig and just blow up on the surface. They would chase bait up there, and you never knew if you threw into it, was it going to be a jack, a bluefish, a bonita, a king, a Spanish. I even caught one cobia. He was a little undersized. I don't think he's on the clips. I don't think I had time to get the camera on. That's the downside of this GoPro, is it takes probably 10 seconds to fire up. So this guy, I cranked up the drag, and you can see right there I ripped the hook straight out of the fish. So I'm not sure what it was, but I bent a 4X hook, and I got to fix that, get back on it. But you can see those birds right there. They're coming close to the rig, and they are just hammering bait. They're getting hit consistently. You can see another flock behind me, off to the right, off to the left. So I just wanted to give you a little proof. Yes, I took the 8-weight out there, and I gave it a shot. I don't know if I had the wrong fly. Some of the time I just was not reaching the real surface action. But I was kind of surprised I didn't get hits on the fly rod. But it's a little frustrating when you can see the fish going off. They're eating everything, but they won't eat my fly for whatever reason. And it's a little risky because I've got all this junk on my boat, and I knew if I hook something heavy, he's going to catch on there and probably break off, but I wanted to give it a shot. So you can see that stuff laying there, whip that out, and that's what I was trying to do, was short, medium casts, not build up a bunch of line. I'll just keep whipping it back and forth and moving it to where the fish are. And then I do a lot of sidearm casting with that fly rod because I got 4 rods sticking up in the back, and I don't want to tangle with those. So in the little bit of breeze we had, it was working well enough, but I pretty quickly got frustrated, reeled it in close, and I'm not even looking at my paddle. I didn't realize my paddle was backwards. But I see the birds working outside of fly range. I thought, forget it. I'm gonna catch a fish, whatever they are. I'm gonna find out what they are. So it was a bonita, and I'm looking at this new school. I'm looking for big fish. Ran up there, and I've got a fish, trying to get a hold of it. It's a king, pretty solid king, but it's also hooked in a way that it's got a lot of power. It's like it's colder water, and he's just fighting and fighting. He's got a lot of power and strength. He's pulling harder than normal and getting me wet. And and he's pushing too hard. I can't just manhandle it and grab that leader and hang on, because it'll just pull the hooks. So even though I had so many Spanish on board, big Spanish, I didn't have room to put Kingfish in. I didn't keep a single king. I was glad to get him by the tail. You can see he's a solid fish, and a fish that big that you grab by the tail when he's angry, try it. It's a pretty good little workout. So I got the hooks out. I'm gonna get his picture real quick and get him out of there. So I'm just checking to make sure he's loose of all the other hooks. And you can't hear it on the GoPro, but the fish right in front of me are just destroying the bait. Birds have quit diving. Some of them are just laying on the surface looking at each other like, what? I'm full. I don't want to fly anymore. 45 inches, so pretty good. I'll show you one of these bluefish. They're chunky, they're mean. I ran out of room to store Bonita, so I got a couple of Bonita. I'm sticking them in a bag. They're shark baits. So, move back up to this school one more time. I'm ready to go in, but I'll always take one more bait. So you can see those pelicans are pretty much quit.